All right, welcome to another Friday night of Keto Rocks Radio. We are your hosts, Jim Hobbs, and to my left or right is Brian Damaged Forsythe of Kix, and he's got a new shirt on tonight. What you got? What you wearing there, Brian?
It's actually not new.
Okay, this is bright. It's bright, it's like you're on fire.
It's from Finland.
Ah, gotcha.
George has one just like it.
Okay, is it a long sleeve?
Yeah, it's actually got flames on the sleeve too.
Ah, cool. Wear that for Biker Week. Anyway, well, everybody, we got another guest joining us tonight, so I'm gonna bring her on here in a second. We had her back in the summer, and she sent us an email this week updating us with her latest visit with the doctor. So we're gonna let her share her story, but let me bring her on and make her appear. But welcome back to Keto Rocks Radio, Dawn Guidotti. I think she's out of New Jersey, I believe. You may have to unmute your video camera, Dawn.
Ah, there she is.
Can you hear me?
I can hear. Yeah, there we go. Yes. See, I live out in the country, so I got to pull the string really tight to get the internet to get to me. So I'm about 2 seconds behind everybody else in the world, but I'll catch up eventually. But yes, I see you.
Okay.
Welcome. Glad to have you back.
Thanks for having me back.
Well, for the
Anytime
people,
I can share something that hopefully encourages somebody to make a change to be their better self, then I did my good deed for the day. So hopefully I get to do that.
well, I could agree with you more. I know Brian feels the same way as I do. You know, Keto Rocks Radio is just, it's not our show. It's everybody's show. It's a show for people to be able to share what they're doing in their life, and each of us hold each other accountable and share the good, the bad, the ugly. And when we stumble, to be able to, give a hand and lift that person back up right where they are, and to be able to share with the world, you can have a great life in your 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and beyond. And you can even have a healthier, energetic life in your 20s, 30s, and 40s by following a lifestyle that I believe is something that you can do, something your body will want you to do, and your body will respond well. And for those who may not have caught your guest spot on our show back in the summer, can you give kind of a brief history of your life, Dawn?
Sure.
I mean, what got you to go keto again? I know it was a friend, but what troubles were you having?
Mainly GI issues and joint pain issues. They were my main issues. I do have a diagnosis of gastritis and GERD and seasonal allergies. I was taking medication for the GI issues and weaned myself off of them because initially the doctor put me on Nexium and then she put me on Pepcid. Neither one have great long-term side effects. And truthfully, the Nexium, as horrible as it is, did help. The Pepcid did not. And I decided to go the route with turmeric daily and ginger tea, and that helped a lot. And then when I finally transitioned over to lifestyle, that really kicked everything into overdrive. There's no joint pains. I have no GI issues. I think I mentioned when I hit you up last week or the week before, no more issues with sinuses. I used to get chronic sinus headaches. I used to carry Tylenol sinus and pop them like Tic Tacs in my purse, keep them at my desk at work because it was that bad. And there was nothing wrong with my sinuses per se. I didn't have any kind of polyps or nodules, no blockages. So it must have been attributed to inflammation, and with the inflammation, mucus buildup and whatnot. But changing the diet took all that away. I don't have as frequent migraine headaches. I might get one maybe once a month, which I think is maybe more hormone related, but nothing like I did before. I think I also mentioned about, I just recently had an eye exam. I was a little behind with that too, due to everything being closed down and pushed back. And this is the first time in my life that I did not have to change my prescription.
That's awesome.
I've been wearing glasses and wear contacts since 5th grade. And every year my eyes get worse and worse and worse. I have like what is that? Like the bifocals or the transitional lenses, so you could see 2 different ways, see horribly at night. I'm blind as a bat, but it was so great not to hear, your eyesight is getting worse. It actually stayed the same. Didn't have to get a new script, new lenses, nothing. So
Well,
obviously
awesome.
now I must be doing something right.
Now, when you said you had some lab work done, so you mind telling everybody the labs that you had and also what the doctor said to you and going over those numbers?
Sure. Like I had told you, I guess, last week, she had ordered me labs back in December or January, and I never got them done. I decided to get them done. I had the time. And since I changed my style of eating, just out of curiosity to see how everything was. And do you want me to read you the numbers?
Sure, yeah, share the numbers. I know Brian loves these numbers.
My triglycerides are 58. My HDL is 96. My LDL is 184. Okay. Everything else was pretty basic. My thyroid fine, iron's fine. My fasting glucose was 80. They didn't do an A1C, so I don't have anything to say about that. But the doctor didn't call me, but she wrote a comment in my lab results, and this is exactly what it says. It says, your test results show your labs were normal, except your cholesterol is way too high. That was her, way too high.
I can't believe that. That is
it's exactly what it says.
That's like perfect numbers.
Yeah.
You can't get any better than that.
Right?
Well, you can, but that's pretty much.
That's in the great range.
That's good. Yeah, that's what you want. Exactly what you want. I can't believe they still think that's high.
Yeah, and then she goes on to say, you may want to consider medication for this. You should watch your cholesterol and fats in your diet and exercise regularly. Mind you, I've been daily exercising for 30 years. That has not changed. Daily. You should make an appointment in the next several months so we can review this. That was that.
Dr. Ken Berry in his book talks about that these doctors are so far behind when it comes to cholesterol, and he really recommends giving them books to read so they can be caught up to speed with what cholesterol really is. And like Brian said, those numbers you just read out to us, they're awesome.
Yeah, that's what you want. Exactly that.
Brian, what are your numbers? I know Brian knows his numbers. What are your numbers in that area?
Well, you know what? I just got my blood done today, so I'm going to have new numbers here in a couple days. But here, let me grab my, I have my labs right here on my desktop. Let me open it up.
Sure.
Because I can never remember the number. Oops, that's not it. What is that?
Yeah, a great book called The Great Cholesterol Myth by Johnny Bowden. And then The Cholesterol Myth, Exposing the Fallacy That Saturated Fat and Cholesterol Causes Heart Disease is another great book. And, for them, and that's what they say to me too. So you're not, what they say to most of the people who are watching this, because that's the response. Yeah, but the doctor told me that I should be eating meat and fat because of my cholesterol. And you're like, no, you should be eating meat and fat. And they just don't understand the true correlation of what cholesterol really is.
Well, the fat, the meat and the fat, that's what puts your numbers in the right place. It's the grains and the carbohydrates and the sugars that throw them like the wrong way. But I'm what you would call the lean mass hyper responder. So they freak out when they see my numbers. But my HDL is 99. My triglycerides are 91, and my LDL is 769. If you can believe that. But
You can believe, well, you just said what was the term you used?
lean mass hyper
Lean-
responder.
So that would make sense. And you don't have any underlying health issues, comorbidities?
No, and I went and had the CAC thing done, and it came up 0. So
No, there you
yeah,
go.
so I'm not worried.
That's
Yeah,
yeah.
I wouldn't be.
But that was a year ago, so I can't wait to see my current results. And the thing I did, I just watched who's that guy? I just watched his video like last week. It was oh, what is his name? Feldman? Day? Is it Doctor? Anyway, he's like a cholesterol doctor, and he gave this talk on the. He's got the same thing, the hyper responder thing, and he was talking about what to do. It like what you eat 3 days before your blood test makes a huge difference in the results. So he did this experiment where he would do 3 days of one way of doing it, and then take a blood test, and then do it again and again, and because apparently fasting too long before a blood test is bad, and I didn't realize it. And I think the last time I had my blood done, I was probably on hour 18 to somewhere between 18 and 24, and that'll raise cholesterol. Like all these little things will. So what I did was, and the other thing he said is that the 3 days before you should eat more calories, like raise your caloric intake and raise the fat level too. So that's what I did. Like I topped it off last night around, what was it, around 7:30, 8 o'clock last night. I drank a big jar of bone broth with like this much fat on top.
Oh, your body loved that for sure.
Yeah. So I'll see how that affected it. Now, and I only fasted 12. Well, no, I guess it was 13 and a half hours, but close to 12.
So by doing it that way, it's may give a more accurate reading? Is that the?
Yeah, because apparently fasting too long and not having enough calories and fat, it'll cause your body to ramp up your own cholesterol, and it'll throw it out into the blood. And if you oversaturate it, it'll calm it down. So
Interesting.
Yeah, it is.
on
Regular doctors probably don't even realize that. They're asking you to fast anyway for this blood work. And if they don't know that you do, let's say, an intermittent fasting, or you eat a particular type of food, they're not factoring that into your numbers when they read them and they make these comments.
Yeah, and I mean all those things change. I mean even blood pressure. I mean all that stuff. It changes all the time, and like insulin levels, and you know, so that one time when they take it, they're judging your whole thing on that one thing. Unless you have other things that point to like
Right.
if your A1C is out of whack and all that stuff, but.
It'll be interesting. When do you expect to get your results back, Brian?
I can't remember how long it took last time, but I know. They sent me the email with the file, and then all of a sudden I got a voicemail from the lab. You'll need to call us to discuss those results. Like call us
Freaking
right
out.
away. And on my cholesterol, it was this big alert in red across the top. It was like
Now,
I didn't even bother to call because I knew what they were gonna do.
now, do you just schedule the labs yourself like every year, Brian, or do you actually? Because I know you don't. You're like me, so you don't have
Yeah,
health insurance. Yeah, you just
yeah,
schedule the
I
labs.
have no insurance or no doctor, no nothing. So, and I was sort of putting it off because it's up around $400 for that set of
Mm.
labs that I get done. But I figured, well, I'm not paying health insurance, and that would be like less than 1 month of health insurance.
No
Mhm.
kidding.
Yeah,
I
but
just splurged and went ahead and got it.
That included your A1C as well.
No, that's the only problem. They have certain bundles, and this one it includes everything except the C-peptide and A1C. But I have a feeling, the last time it was
Yeah,
perfect,
yeah,
and I haven't
nothing's
changed anything.
changed.
Yeah.
Right. So Dawn, how long have you, last time we spoke in July, so how long have you been on a keto or more of a ketovore? You're like me, you're probably more carnivore than you are keto, so you're a ketovore.
Yeah, I every once in a while I'll throw in like some broccoli and asparagus and maybe some romaine when it hits me. But other than that, it's all animal-based products.
How's that work when you throw that stuff in? You notice?
Those three particular things don't bother me.
Ah, you're lucky.
If I do it, and it's not like I do it every week or a couple days a week. So it doesn't bother me. All other vegetables I eliminated because I had some kind of reaction or another, whether it was bloating or I felt uncomfortable. Uh, Cheese doesn't bother me. Cream, it's hit or miss. It depends. Sometimes it really gets to me, and other times it doesn't. So I kind of limit my heavy cream.
Yeah, I have to do that. Yeah, the cheese, I get carried away sometimes.
Yeah, I love cheese.
That'll
Yeah,
bloat me a little bit.
yeah. I had prime rib on Sunday night, and it was delicious. And I usually don't get a side, but I'm like you, Don. I'll get a side romaine, like a Caesar salad without the croutons, and they have a cream spinach, which it's hit or miss for me. I got it Sunday night; didn't seem to bother me at all. So, and that's makes but spinach, asparagus, and broccoli are probably the three things that I'll have, or Brussels sprouts sometimes. But that's very few and far between. Most of the times it's ribeyes and steaks. I mean, prime rib eyes, seafood. Just like for today,
Mhm.
I cooked a whole bunch of scallops on the Traeger. Actually, I smoked them on the Traeger. They were really good with Old Bay seasoning
Oh,
on
wow.
them. But yeah, I have a friend who actually spoke to him yesterday. He's got all kinds of problems. He's tired. He aches all the time, and he's been to the doctor. He's got all these issues, and I'm not going to mention his name because he's probably going to listen to this one. And but I told him, I said, listen, you can take all the stuff, but I mean, until you eliminate sugar from your body and stop putting that crap in your body, you can go to the doctor all you want. I mean, and they're going to prolong your life as long as they can with. But he's a type 2 diabetic. He's got the insulin pump, all that stuff, and I'm like, look, you have to do keto and carnivore. Just try it. And he goes, I know, I think I'm gonna have to because I see the results with you and Peggy and others. And but I just don't know what to do. I said, it's very simple. Just eat meat. That's it. Just eat meat. It's very simple. You don't need to do any, deep down research or study. Just eat meat. Well, can I have eggs? Yeah, you can have eggs. You can have eggs, meat, and cheese. Just don't have anything else for right now. Well, what about butter beans? I said, no. Let's just stick to simple stuff. We're having meat, just meat, eggs, and cheese, and just try that. He's, well, I'm at Costco right now. Can I get a chicken? I said, sure, get a chicken. Go ahead, have a chicken. Have as much of it as you want. There's no restrictions because your body will level off of where, and
Mhm.
once you get off that sugar roller coaster, because that's the hardest part for people to realize is, you know, that once they get off that addiction of sugar, their body starts responding differently. They start to feel differently. And, when you keep going to the doctor for the magic pill, that's not a great long-term healthy solution for you.
No, and it's not so magic in the long run.
I don't
No,
think there is a magic pill. I don't think it exists.
no, the
The
magic
ribeye,
pill is yourself.
yeah,
I
the
mean,
ribeye steak is my magic pill.
it's pretty darn close, that's for sure. But the reality of it is, if we put the right fuel in our body will do what it was intended to do, which is to fight off everything and keep us as strong as possible. And I love receiving stories. Like Dawn, when I get your email, you have no idea how that this thrills me that somebody out there is having great response. Because if you were someone who did have the knowledge that you have now and went to a doctor and they go, oh, your cholesterol, they're putting you on a statin. They're telling you to not eat meat, remove the skin from your chicken, eat vegetables, and
eat more whole grains and fruits and vegetables. Yeah.
And yeah, they really push the whole grains. They really, that's a big push with even with people, a lot of people in dietary and nutrition, they tend to push that stuff too. Oh, sugar's not good, lay off on sugar, which is good. But then they throw in, but eat these fruits, eat these vegetables, eat these whole grains, you need this for fiber. So you kind of get one good piece of something, and then you get a bunch of nonsense.
Right.
And no wonder people get confused.
Well, especially someone in your situation with, gut issues, to recommend stuff like that's just like, giving you poison to eat for your guts,
Yeah,
I didn't know any better, and I ate that way because I had the opposite way of thinking. I stopped eating meat because I thought that was bothering my stomach and I couldn't digest it right. In reality, it was other things, probably mainly things that were high in carbs, had sugar, processed, stuff in boxes and things like that. And when they went away, and then I went back to eating just, meat and cheese and eggs. And I always ate fish because I wound up being more of a pescatarian eater at the time when I stopped eating meat than anything else. And I kept that. I love fish, but I don't have any issues now.
Yeah, that was the same with my wife, Peggy. She's had intestinal issues her whole life, and they want to diagnose with Crohn or irritable bowel syndrome. And the reality of it is, once she eliminated, and she's eliminated almost everything, the only thing that does not make her sick is meat. Like, she can eat meat, her body responds very well to it. The bone broth, she responds very well to it. But every once in a while, she'll try to incorporate a vegetable or something else into her diet, and she doesn't respond well to it. And so,
yeah, I don't know either. Yeah, I even the last time I made the pulled pork, I tried to sneak in a little bit of that, and it's the Primal Kitchen's barbecue sauce, which doesn't have any sugar or anything bad in it, and I only used a tiny bit, and that still messed with me. It's like, I think tomatoes are really bad for me. So
is it acidic?
I guess, yeah. And I mean, I figured, well, I'll just use a little, and I've paid for it.
Now, what does your friends think about you, Dawn? Do they go, man, what are you doing? How do you seem so more vibrant?
That hasn't changed my vibrancy. That's always been the same. But anybody that I've gone out to eat with, or maybe have come here and watch me eat, but it's probably more going out to eat. Usually the comment is, and family too, until you explain what you're doing, is, oh, are you on a keto diet? And my standard answer is, I'm not on any diet. I'm just eating what works well with me, and I've eliminated foods that I don't process well.
That's a great response.
Okay, and then that kind of, and either they'll ask a little bit more or they'll just cut it off at that.
Because, you come from an Italian family, so I know, right? Correct? Yes. So, you got the eggplant parmesan, you got everything. You got the raviolis, the lasagna. Pasta's a big deal. At least it was. And my aunt was married an Italian, and she learned how to cook Italian very well. And as a child, I loved going to her house to eat all that, because it's like an unending buffet. Like, they don't believe you should. They don't even want you to. They want you to be not just full. They want you to be bloated and about ready to float away or roll away.
Everybody takes a nap on the couch, and then you come back for more.
Yeah,
it goes. But basically, I cook here whatever I cook. I mean, if I cook, like the other day, I cooked pasta for my son and I put chicken in it. I ate the chicken before I put it in the pasta. He ate it the way it was intended to be eaten. I haven't found that I miss pasta that much. Actually, I miss rice more than I miss pasta, but I really like rice. But
have you tried the cauliflower rice?
Cauliflower bothers. I had
yeah, that's that. Yeah,
that is a hard one. I love cauliflower, but it just no. I was done. I tried, and then I let it go, and I went back, and I'm like, nope, it's not going to work. I gotta let it go.
Now, have you tried taking the making like pasta from spaghetti zucchini or spiral zucchini?
You know what? I think, like, for me, for some things, if it's not going to be the real thing, I'm just not going to do it. I have like, I'm known in my family for my meatballs. That's one of the things everybody loves. That they have to have my meatballs. Am I making meatballs for this, that, or the other? And I always have to make extra so they can take their own home and freeze them. So what I've done was, because I like them too, I basically just switched out the breadcrumbs for pork panko and heavy cream for milk. And that's it. Okay. Everything else is the same. All the spices are the same. The pork and the beef, are the same.
Do they notice any difference? I mean, do you notice any difference? Do they taste the same?
They taste the same. The only thing is when you mix them, and I don't use a recipe, it's all by hand, and I have to watch how much cream I use because it makes it a little more stickier because the cream is heavier than the milk would be because it's thicker. So you gotta watch how much you put in with that. But otherwise, they taste the same. The texture is the same, and everybody likes them.
Well, I know you don't have a recipe. I know you cook by touch and feel and taste, but could you somehow just put a generic what the ingredients that you use? Because I'd love to make what you're talking about. That sounds delicious.
Oh, sure, absolutely, yeah.
That would be awesome.
It's really easy. But
Brian, do you do meatballs? I was asking Brian. Brian, do you do meatballs?
I would. I've not made any.
You would. It's all, honest to God, it's all in the feel. You could put whatever you want in it for taste, as much of this or as much of that. It all comes down to how they're going to hold together. If you don't put enough of one thing and too much of another, they're going to fall apart. If you put too much of something else and not enough of something else, it's going to be like a rock that you could hit somebody in the head with. So you got
to. Now, do you bake them or you put them in a crock pot? Or
it depends. If I'm making like a large amount, I'll bake them. If I'm just going to do like a package, then I'll cook them in olive oil on the stove and then finish cooking them. If I'm going to put them in like gravy, then I'll finish cooking them there. If not, I'll just, cook them all the way through.
You said something earlier, Dawn, about, the doctors tell you, to eat, fruits and grains and, lay off the sugar. They're okay with laying off the sugar, but then they tell you to eat the fruits. And, Brian and I have had this discussion before, but most fruits that you get at a grocery store are so genetically modified and so full of sugar, you're totally going against the whole no sugar thing. Your body's still going to be spiking with insulin spikes. Because of the amount of sugar you're intaking from just store-bought fruit.
Mm-hmm.
Right, it's natural sugar, but it's sugar.
Yeah, and it still puts you on that roller. What's that, Brian?
I said your blood doesn't know the difference.
Yeah, absolutely not.
Sugar.
Absolutely not.
So what do you do for Christmas? So talk about your cooking for Christmas. Tell me.
I do Christmas Eve at my house. That's my holiday. I took it over from my grandmother because she always did it. So I do it. And I do the traditional 7 fishes. I've kind of compromised over the years because it's a lot of work. It's a lot of prep. It's days before, day of. It's a lot to do. So instead of doing 7 individual fish dishes, I've combined some things. And actually, outside of the one pasta dish that I'll make, I'll be able to eat everything because how I naturally prepare it is basically most of it's olive oil and garlic and spices, and some stuff has lemon juice in it. One thing is tomato based, but I make my own gravy, so I know what goes in it. So, you know, I can eat that. The seafood pasta, what I'll do for myself is just put the sauce with the fish in it to the side, and then when I'm ready to serve it to everybody else, toss it with the pasta. I won't be able to eat stromboli because it's bread, you know, but they'll all eat that, and of course I won't get to eat all my cookies. but everybody else will.
Well, I think you are a poster child, because if somebody from an Italian family who obviously knows how to cook Italian food well can step away from the dishes that you grew up with and learn how to cook right from taking your mom and your grandmother and your family, can walk away from that, nobody has an excuse not to go ahead and live this type of lifestyle.
I mean, I haven't had time. So like I said, this particular meal, I can kind of bob and weave around, so to speak, because of the way that I prepare it. But other stuff, when I have the time, I'm going to try and create things that I'll be able to eat without compromising like taste.
Right.
But it's just time. Like I just, like today I started baking, and one of the things I make is homemade fudge. Well, one of the main ingredients in homemade fudge is sweetened condensed milk, which is nothing but milk and sugar.
Right.
And I happen to be scrolling along in my Google feed, and up pops a thing, keto sweetened condensed milk. Like you can make it keto friendly. It's I'm going to go by memory. Heavy cream, either like monk fruit or like the swerve. Is that erythritol?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sweetener, vanilla, and butter, and you cook it over the stove. You let it you boil it, and then you have to stir it and simmer it for like 45 minutes, and it thickens. And you cool it and put it in the fridge, and supposedly you can use that as a substitute. So if I did that and the sugar-free chocolate chips and melt them down, it might work.
Well, I
try that. I can't try that on people until I try it myself.
No, I actually.
What's that? Because I did make because one of the other things that I make are cannolis, and I actually have come up with a filling that I could eat, because I could do the whole milk vergot. I could do the heavy cream, the vanilla, the cinnamon, and I can use the 100% cacao or cacao, however you pronounce it, chips, or if I wanted to make it the chocolate a little sweeter, like the lilies or whatever.
Right.
All the other stuff is fine. Now, it would just be a matter of everybody else, notices the difference.
Yeah, my aunt used to she lived in Madison, New Jersey. So I don't know what part of New Jersey you're in, but she was up in Madison. And I remember the Italian cookies back in the day, the different Italian, and the cannolis. Oh my gosh. I still remember those. Delicious. In talking, I'm having those memories of childhood, but as far as craving that stuff, I really don't crave it anymore at all. But it brings up great memories.
Yeah, I think for me, it's more for me doing it for everybody else. Honestly, when you cook that much, when you have the days that you cook for days at a time, prepare, you don't eat any of that food. You're so sick of it. It was fine when somebody else did it, and I enjoyed it, and I loved it. But when I'm doing all the work, nah, I'm happy. They're all happy. They all get what they want. It's once a year. They look forward to it, and I'm happy to do it. So
yeah, my wife Peggy loves cooking with love. That's what she cooks with. She just cooks with
absolutely.
love, and she just wants people to be happy, and she could care less about having it herself. She just wants people to be happy. So
yeah, I usually make a bunch of cookies for my family for the holidays, and send them out like batches of cookies. And then this year I've been fighting with myself, going, oh, you know, I feel bad sending normal cookies out just because it's if I'm not gonna eat it, you know, I feel guilty sending to other people for them to eat it. So I bought some like almond flour. I'm waiting on the chocolate chips. They haven't come yet. They're supposed to get here tomorrow, but I'm gonna have to make a little batch myself to see like be able
Taste
to
it.
tweak it so it tastes right, and then make some for them. But yeah, because I haven't done a whole lot of bacon with keto ingredients because I just don't eat that stuff anymore. So
I don't know. I seen a cheesecake you did on Instagram.
yeah, that's cheesecake, but I'm talking about like cookies and that kind of thing.
Okay, that little like quick pop it in your mouth type thing.
Yeah, well, stuff that I would send out, and yeah, so I've sort of yeah, I haven't done any of that baking stuff yet with the cookies, so I'm gonna have to like practice really quick in the next couple weeks.
Yeah, we're having that same discussion here, Brian. We usually, I think talked to you before about it, that Peggy and I usually used to make cookies and go deliver them to family and friends, and we're like, we can't do that anymore. Like we
Yeah,
feel like we're the drug dealer dealing a drug that we won't take, that's poison. We feel like we're dealing poison, and like we don't want to do that. So we're gonna have to make, which we have. Peggy's got a plenty. She does great in incorporating keto friendly products to making it a keto dessert. So
yeah.
but I got a great recipe for you, Dawn. I'll send to you. I'll email to you. Peanut butter keto peanut butter fudge or brownies.
Oh, okay,
It's
cool.
really good. So
Yeah, I mean, I love sweets. I mean, that's always been my downfall, one way or the other. So not having sweets. I mean, I don't miss them, but at the same time, they were always my go-to.
Yeah,
I would rather eat like, I don't know, a half a pan of brownies than eat dinner.
yeah, I'm bad with it. Even with the keto friendly sweets, if I eat those, it kicks in my cravings. So I have to be careful. I can't keep that
Yeah.
stuff around. But I was
Yeah.
talking to my mother that when was it? Yesterday, I think, and I was telling her about the cookies. I said I'm gonna try something new this year, and she was like, "Oh," she loves my oatmeal cookies. There's no way to make an oatmeal cookie keto friendly. I mean, you can't leave out the raisins, you can't leave out the oats. Like, what are you
No.
gonna do? So I might
Uh,
have to make a special batch of oatmeal cookies just for my mother. But she goes, oh,
Absolutely.
I'm 90. I'm not gonna be here that much longer. So
yeah, I gotta agree. If you're 90, you pretty much get a chance to eat whatever you want at that point.
Absolutely. That's funny. Yeah, she don't want you passing on any of your little special recipes. She wants the real deal.
I know. I do have her drinking that keto chow drink thing that keto chow makes
Oh, I hope you got her mixing it with something.
with heavy cream.
Okay, good, because I did. I put that. I finally incorporated that in my mud in the morning. It brings out and I have keto chocolate. I mean that I make It's called mud. It's called mud instead of coffee. So I've got off coffee again, um, and that's the reason why I got off coffee is because like I say, I take my blood pressure every day. I started noticing my blood pressure creeping up, and the only thing different was I incorporated coffee back into
Wow.
my life. So I started, so I've weaned myself back off of it, and my blood pressure is going back down again. So it's in the normal range now.
Yeah,
But
coffee.
I incorporate that keto chow into the coffee in the morning, or not coffee, into the mud, and it brings that chocolate out. And I hardly even taste it. It's like it's good. It's like having dark chocolate with sea salt on it. It tastes good. So, but yeah, that I could not do the shot. So for is it a teach? What's Dr. Barry's wife's name?
Nisha.
Yeah, Nisha. If she does straight shots of that, God bless her, because I tell you, that just really wrecks my stomach.
Oh, what are you talking about there?
The key isn't the keto chow. That's got the keto chow's got the real salty.
Oh, you're talking about the
Minerals.
electrolytes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm
Isn't it
talking
called?
about. Here, I'll show you what I'm talking
Okay.
about. I bought some myself because I wanted to try it, but I've only used it like twice It's this stuff. It's like a meal
Oh,
replacement.
okay. All right.
Oh, what is that?
It's got protein and ketones, and you mix it with heavy cream.
So you've tried it, Brian?
Yeah, I bought some because I buy it for her, and I remember I was at her house and I mixed her up a big batch so she could stick it in the fridge and just drink it for the week. And I said, "You mind if I try that?" Because it looked really good. So I poured a little bit in a cup, and it was like, "Wow, it's really good." So I bought a bag, but it's like, I eat every day, and I don't. There's no room for that. So I've only tried it maybe twice since I've had it. It's still a whole full bag there.
So is that like in addition to go with your meal, or is that supposed to take the, what is that?
Yeah, it's more of a replacement. It's really it's ideal for like a senior, like an older person to keep their protein and their ketones up, and it's good for the the brain and all that stuff. Or like a kid that you can't get to eat right, you can give it to a kid, and it's like a milkshake.
Better than what's that stuff? Oh Lord, Pediasure.
Oh yeah, probably.
They have the grown-up stuff, Ensure, and for the little kids, yeah, for the little kids that are underweight or malnourished or don't eat correctly or whatever, they have Pediasure.
And that's probably the same thing, right? With corn syrup and all that.
Oh yeah. It's just the kid. It's the kid version. That's the kid version. Pediasure, and Ensure is the adult version. So this that you have is a healthy version of something like that. If you're not getting all your nutrients from food.
Yeah, because those other things, they're based on sugar to get you fat, to put on weight. This is based on protein and ketones to for muscle, or for muscle mass and bone mass and your brain.
Right. It's the healthy version of those other two things.
Yeah.
Didn't your doctor out in California, before you bolted LA, didn't your doctor out there, when you lost those 5 pounds, want you to get on that?
Yeah, she wrote down these little notes, things for me to do, and one of them was to buy some Ensure. Like, what? Because I had lost. Well, this is when I first started keto. Yeah, I lost the first 5 pounds, and she's like, "Oh, there's something wrong." And that was the nail in the coffin. I mean, not only had she already recommended a statin, then she brings up Ensure, and I'm going, okay, I got to find another doctor. This is
Well, it's going to be interesting when I do go back to the doctor. I'm not going to go back strictly just because of these lab results, like she has asked me to do, but I would like to get that CAC test done just to see. But what I would like to explain to her is that she needs to look at the big picture. My diet was different the last time I came. This is how I'm eating now. My blood pressure's always been good. I don't have any history for myself of heart disease, diabetes, I'm not high risk for any of that stuff. I exercise every day. I was never a smoker. I mean, my risk factors are very, very low. Mm-hmm. She needs to take all that into consideration before she comes at me with, you need to think about medication and changing cholesterol and fat intake and exercising every day, which I already do. And I'm gonna listen to her pitch and hear what she has to say, and then I'm gonna say what I have to say, and then I'll take it from there.
Do you remember what your lab results were prior to starting this?
I do, actually. It's funny that you asked that, and I actually pulled them because before Jim had asked me to come back on, I was putting these, filing them away with the other ones. I said, oh, let me see if I have my other labs. These were from, I can't see, 2018. So that's 2 years ago. So my triglycerides were still good. It was 59. My HDL was good. It was 91. And my LDL was 87. So.
Well, see, your LDL was low.
Yes. Yeah.
So, yeah,
and actually my fasting glucose was higher. It was 94. So that was actually inching up higher to, being more towards higher glucose fasting, which isn't great.
And that's still not bad. I mean, those numbers
It's
aren't
not bad, but
But,
this is
for
better.
For a female, you should have higher cholesterol. I mean, your numbers now are way better than those. I mean, those are still good too. So it's weird. It's improved like in a good way.
Right, exactly. There's nothing bad about about these labs, and
Yeah.
like I said, I'd like to have a discussion with her and see what she says to what I have to say. Obviously, I'm not a big advocate for any kind of medication anyway for myself. I mean, there are times, yes, you have to take medications, but if it's really unnecessary, you really need to weigh the risk factors versus the benefits. What's the long-term effects besides the immediate side effects? You have to look at all that.
Yeah, and the problem with the way the doctors look at the cholesterol is she's only looking at your LDL because it's gone up.
Right,
So
exactly.
she's freaking out on, and it doesn't even. It's like it doesn't even matter if she looks at the other two because those are what matter. It's like the other thing is a bonus, really.
Right. Well, hopefully, like I said, when I explained to her, how I've been eating and but that's really been the only change is my food. Anything else hasn't changed. My weight probably has changed. I'm sure I dropped a few pounds, but
Well, when I explained to my doctor what I was eating to contribute to, and my numbers were even better back then. Like my HDL's actually come down in the last couple of years. That the doctor in LA, my HDL was like 136 and my triglycerides were 46. So it was like a really good ratio. But then I told her what I was doing and she, how I was eating, and she completely freaked out. And she gave me that whole list of the whole grains and this and that, and eat more of this and more fiber. And I'm like, no, that didn't work. It's not been working.
no. And the sad part is, and I've heard it from many people watching the show, including I saw Peggy's episode, Jim. So many people have these issues that are food related, and nobody is looking at that. They're like,
No.
they're looking at like what the obvious might be. Oh, you're having a pain here or having this issue, so it must be that. So we're going to work you up for all this, and you're not looking at the basic. Start at the basic. Where do we start basically? And nobody's looked at that. And I've heard many people, on this show that it's food. Once they get rid of the food or change their diet or eliminate certain things, they feel so much better.
Absolutely. And those are the things that you need to be aware of. But when, like Brian and I talk about all the time, and your body, your body better than any doctor that you can go to. So when you feel bloated after eating something, make a note of that. Go, okay, which one was it? Was it the cream, or was it the stevia that I put in my coffee, or was it the coffee itself? And you just start eliminating those things until your body responds in a positive manner. I mean, your body knows what it can take and what it needs more than it definitely doesn't need a statin drug, in my opinion.
No.
No, not at all. It doesn't need anything really. It just, I'm just going to continue to do what I do.
Well, thank you so much you keep doing what you're doing. Thanks for coming on the show and sharing your numbers with everybody. And, and keep doing what you're doing, because I think you look great. I think you're feeling energetic, and
absolutely.
And please don't forget to send us that recipe for the meatballs, the Italian.
Oh, meatballs. I won't forget.
Brian will do a video on cooking meatballs, because he hasn't done one on meatballs yet. So there you go.
And I'm good at not measuring, just throwing stuff together too.
Yeah, you're the everything but the kitchen sink guy.
Well, listen, that wraps up another episode of Keto Rocks. So, Dawn, thank you so much for taking time and joining us. And we wish you and your family a Merry Christmas and full stomachs all around. And so,
you guys too. Have a Merry Christmas, a blessed, healthy New Year, and I hope to to see you when you do your little weekend summit or whatever you're doing.
Yes, we will. Matter of fact, we'll talk about that after the show tonight to get the date. So yes, we'll definitely be doing a keto summit in March or August. We haven't just confirmed that, but it'll be one of those 2 months. But yeah, we look forward to seeing you. Look forward to seeing you in person. Well, anyway,
Absolutely.
all right. Take care, Dawn. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Guys,
All
have a
right,
good one.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.
Wow, I love hearing stories where people are taking their health in their own hands and doing what they know their body's responding well to. So
Right, and also having the knowledge about the diet and the drugs, like her doctor. If she wouldn't have known any better, she would just take the advice and get on some statin drug for nothing. I mean, her cholesterol is perfect. Like she wouldn't want to even mess with that. And I can't believe a doctor has even considered doing that. It's like, that should be malpractice. That's just not right.
no, I agree with you, and that's the scary part. That's like you said, when people don't have that knowledge, and that knowledge comes from outside. I hate to say this, outside of truly the medical profession, other than a few people who have decided to really do their own studies and write about what cholesterol really is. And thank goodness for people like Dr. Ken Berry and others. I know there's a lot of great books out there. So, do yourself a favor. If you didn't know what to do when you met with your doctor for your annual physical and your cholesterol was high and he put you on a statin, I'm not telling you to go against the advice of your doctor. What I'm telling you to do is go do your own research. And I think you'll come to your own conclusion that you'll know what to do. In my opinion, it won't be taking a statin.
Yeah, and what the doctor considers high, like in her case, that was not even, it's not even close to high. It's like really ridiculous. I can't believe that advice she got from her doctor.
Yeah, because most of the time, if it's below 200 and even in the doctors or the medical, they're okay with it.
Yeah, I don't understand that. It's just that makes no sense to me.
It's almost like they truly are. They have to push something. So this is the area I'm going to push this drug here. I gotta get you on something. So it's going to be this.
Yeah.
Even though you may not need it.
They have to diagnose and then prescribe. That's their procedure. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's like the one guest we had on a while back who said that his father really he was governed by the insurance. He got blackballed because he wasn't prescribing, and he had to hit numbers for them, and if not, then we're taking your license. And it's just it seems so mind-boggling that someone that's doing the best they can for their patients and really helping them become healthy without the use of drugs, only in extreme cases, loses his license to practice medicine. It's just crazy.
Yeah, it's completely screwed up, the whole system. It needs to be like turned inside out.
Well, I think,
there's so much money involved, it'll never happen,
Hopefully one day people will realize that, what am I spending all this money on this health insurance for? And then start to, realize that, take that same amount of money. Cause a lot of people are paying $1,000 a month for insurance, or $1,200 for them and their wife, or, almost
not even being employed at the moment. Yeah. I don't know how people do it.
Yeah. And then you have, you have a deductible on top of that. So, that just gets you in the door of debt. And you take that same amount of money and you could pack your freezer full of meat, which is natural, that's going to give you everything you need, that your body needs, that's going to strengthen your immune system, maintain your energy, and just make you a stronger all-around individual without having to go to a doctor.
That's basically what I've done.
Yeah.
I got my insurance and just filled my freezer.
Yeah. No, listen, and that works. And people say, well, I couldn't do that. So there's some people out there who says, well, I just can't do that. And that's okay. But, just realize that you're really just paying for something that really doesn't even bring you health. And if you don't call it health insurance, it's just, it's just wasteful money insurance, in my opinion.
Yeah, you're just paying some big corporation. You're just giving them money every month. But I kind of I understand it. Like if somebody has a family and they're they have to take care of their family. But like I'm lucky because it's just me, so it doesn't matter. I don't have to worry about anybody else except my cat. But
Yeah,
she don't have
Smokey.
insurance. She don't have insurance either.
Poor Smokey.
But I feed her. I feed her like I feed myself, so she's perfectly healthy.
There you go. There you go. All right. Well, we'll wrap this episode up. Brian, you got any last words or anything you want to share? Anything going on in your life? How's the book coming along?
It's coming. I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to squeeze my whole life into a little book, because I'm trying to keep the pages down to a standard size, maybe 300-ish
Right.
pages, and I'm already almost there, and I'm only like halfway. It feels
Well,
like
do part 1, part 2.
I might have to. But
Yeah.
but the other thing is I got that my labs done today, and I can't wait to see the results. And
So we can have the unveiling of your numbers next week.
hopefully, yeah,
That'd be awesome.
yeah, yeah. I'm gonna be curious because I did everything right leading up to it. I increased my caloric intake, increased my fat intake, and didn't fast too long the night before. So all those three things will, I hope, make
Well,
it more right.
well,
But right in my mind anyway.
well, that's the only one that matters. That's the only one that matters. Right in your heart is because that's the only one that matters. So, well, you guys will have to come back. Stay tuned next Friday night, and hopefully we'll be revealing Brian's numbers. And before you leave or click out of this episode, if you can give us a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel with the bell, so anytime we have a new episode that comes out, you'll be made aware of it. And also check out our show notes because we got other links down below for you to be able to go to Brian's cooking channel or to find out information on his band. And so, and if you have any questions or want to give us a testimony that yourself, please feel free. Our emails are right there, so you can email us just like Dawn did. And don't be surprised if you don't get an email or a call from us, and we'll have you on as a guest because this show is just not ours, it's yours. So we want you to tell your story to the world.
Yeah, any questions or topics or anything like that? Yeah, yeah.
All right. Well, you guys have a great Friday night. Brian, say your statement because people actually always are asking for it. That's when they know the show's over with. So
Yeah, eat your meat.
all right. We'll see you guys next. We'll see you next Friday, everybody.